Steve, it's transfer deadline day. What is today going to be like for Rotherham United?
Well, I don't think it's going to be extremely busy. That's the first thing. Certainly in terms of outs, that'll be a no. I think it's well documented now, Rob, that there was some offers on the table for two of our players last week and tended to run in over the weekend, but those clubs have been told clearly that those players are not available, so that's gone away. There's a possibility we're trying to work on one more. Rob's working away now, so you've just seen me in my office with him, so he'll work on that, and then we'll, to be fair, we'll probably know fairly early, we'll probably know mid-afternoon whether we've got some joy from our hard work, or whether we go as we are.
You've done a lot of work, so there'll be managers today who have maybe got to do a bit more, they've got to spend a bit more time trying to sign players, but what is it like having the deadline right before a game, the day before a game, and an early kick-off as well? It doesn't give you much time, does it, in the day? Well,
these deadlines are probably set by people in FIFA and people at the FA who sit behind desks and have probably hardly seen a football match or known the inside workings of a football club. That's reality, but that's administration side. The reality is you shouldn't be desperately trying to sign a player for tomorrow now anyway, so today will go until whatever time the window closes. But for us, it's going to be a business as normal. We're getting ready to play a team that have been sensational since the start of the season under Michael, and you know that's all our focus has to be. And if something else happens off the pitch when the lads have gone home to rest this afternoon, then I can continue my work with Rob.
Just checking, is it a loan signing for a younger player that you're looking at? Is that the kind of...
No, younger players are. I mean, younger players we're looking, saying if there was one or two younger players that we identified earlier in the window were available, we'd take them tomorrow because they would help and improve and add to what we've got. But no, this would be, you know, the two possibilities still, but it's one of two. It's not two. It's one of two. Would be two experienced players.
And the bids that you mentioned that have come in, were they ever close to being tempting, or was it a straight no? You know where?
Well, it was a straight no, as in the one thing that our board does, led by the chairman, is they ask us to. If that's reached where we would value those players in the current market. And obviously there's a second equation, are they big players for us, and are they going to be important players for us? So they never got by those two boxes. They never got past the valuation, and obviously we had to tick the box and say they're big players for us. So that made it, we possibly knew before we took it to our chairman as to where those offers would be, but he just simply said just deal with them and say no.
What have the last few days been like since the Cup game at Fleetwood? You don't have much time with the turnaround, but what have you sort of said to the players? What have you done with the players to try and change what's been happening, I suppose, the chances, but not the goals to go with them? Yeah,
listen, I think there's been mixed performances, hasn't there? I think we'd all accept that first half against Fleetwood we were nowhere near it. Fleetwood were by far the better side, and we should have been out the cup tie, but we were still in the cup tie at 1 goal deficit at half time. In the second half, we made some changes and we laid siege to the goal. And it's hard sometimes when you look at the last 10, 15 minutes at extra. As poor as we were at extra, the last 10 minutes we identify 5 chances that strikers should take, or not just strikers, players should take. And then you look at likes of Crewe and Bristol Rovers and Wickham and Fleetwood's second half. You go and you look behind yourself in the car and you look for the black cats because you must think you've run over a few. So from that point of view, we just have to be positive, get back on the training ground. The one thing we have in the building is players we believe who will score goals, and we'll have to believe that. And that's not just strikers, that's midfield players too. So that's where the focus is lying, is in positivity, and there's no point in looking back in life with regrets. We all have regrets when we look back at certain things. We need to look forward in positive terms.
Strictly in terms of the league, I mentioned to you last week that your expected goals mark was very high. And I had another look this week, and there's only Middlesbrough in the whole Football League with a higher expected goals. You're quite a way ahead of everybody in League One in that sense, but to have no goals in the league, have you ever known a situation like that?
I think sometimes the signs of football that when your teams are disjointed or not playing well or not scoring, your eyes can tell you lies, especially if you're in it every day and live it every minute that we do. But the one thing that doesn't lie behind the whole of football is the statistics behind it. The facts are we ain't scored a goal, so we're not going to get many points. But statistics do tell you XG. There's us in Middlesbrough who set a tone that's quite hard to follow, really, because we're both exceptional at making chances and dominating large spells of games. Interestingly, our XG for being for conceding goals is at the right end as well. So we're doing a lot right, but we just have to have a little bit of luck and a little bit of fortune and a little bit of better finish, if you like, and a little bit more ruthlessness. And it changes. You know, football changes in 10 minutes. It changes in a game. So experience tells you, and I heard Michael from Huddersfield say it in his press yesterday, is that you look at the chances we're making, you look at them. You don't need to look at the stats behind, but look at the actual footage of the chances and say those players normally score those goals, and that's strikers and midfield players. So we'll continue to work hard, and we'll continue to support the players. That's our job.
Is a bit of perspective required? I was looking last time the club was in this division and won automatic promotion. They lost 3 of the first 6 games. It's still August, the weather's still nice. You know, there's still a lot of football to be played, isn't there? You know, nothing really gets determined this early in a season.
It does. It does. 3 points in August is the same as 3 points in April. Don't let anyone ever tell you differently, because it's true. And you'd rather be sitting where Huddersfield are sitting, or where the teams with a lot of points are sitting. You'd rather be sitting there. The other side of the coin is it is a complete new group, if you like. We've got a few players still from last year and a few new players coming in. We are the biggest transition of a squad that's seen in the whole of the EFL. But we had to do that transition, and we have to remove that losing culture. It's a 20 months or 21 months of a dressing room, a camp, a training ground that was used to players coming in every week getting beaten. And that's hard to get that wheel turning back in your favour. But we'll continue to work hard, and the aim is to make that happen.
Is there anything you're not happy with, though, other than the fact that it's been a blank slate on the goal scoring sheet? Is there anything that you're saying to people, I need more from you here, or this is where we need to improve?
No, the one thing we are getting is 110% from everyone, if that's possible. But everyone is committed to the team. Everyone is committed to getting in the team. Everyone is committed. You've seen the efforts deployed. You know, I looked briefly on the pitch after we lost at Fleetwood, and there's players lying flat on the back. They couldn't have given any more. Same as at Wycombe, couldn't have given any more. What do we deserve? We deserve 3 points at Wycombe, and we deserve to be through in the Carabao. Reality is we get 0 points at Wycombe and we're out of the cup. So we need to look forward and focus on Huddersfield. It's as simple as that.
Injury news? Is there any good news? What can you update us with today?
No, not really. You know, I think most will still be missing. Chris T might train today. He trained yesterday, so we'll see how he's feeling when he's back in today. Sean Raggett trained yesterday, but just slightly feeling it a little bit. So we'll see how Sean is today. But you know, there's probably no great news in terms of that. But again, it's days. We said it was days last week, but these minor injuries come down to days. And my words to the medical department this morning is we are not going to gamble. We gambled here as a football club last year. We gambled to a severe consequence, and we're not going to do that this year. Sometimes it's short-term pain, and we get the medium gain.
And with Huddersfield, you mentioned they've had a good start. It's quite a big game, isn't it? You know, it's
a great
stadium.
Game.
You know, how are you feeling about this?
It's a great game.
Derby?
It's a great game. You know, the one thing about all the clubs in Yorkshire, you know, Huddersfield are a big support. They've got maximum points, got a good manager. They've strengthened the last couple of days. New ownership 18 months ago, whatever it is, 15 months ago. Lots of positives. That's that side of the camp. The other side of the camp is they're coming to a fantastic stadium. We're a fantastic owner. We've got a really good squad here. We're damaged a little bit in terms of 1 or 2 injuries to key players, or 2 or 3. But other than that, we still have players capable of winning games and winning lots of games. We just have to get that first goal, that first win, and then I think we'll quickly go a little bit of momentum the other way, because winning's a habit, but losing can be a habit.
Thanks, Steve.
Steve, in terms of the possible arrival, we're talking, could you say what position?
No.
Belong or?
No, it would be a permanent reveal. Yeah.
Okay. In view of Joe Rafferty being injured and not being specialist cover at right back, have you been tempted?
Well, there is specialist cover. You know, Haxton Dufford's a right back. He joined this club as a right back. You should know that better than anyone. You covered it. He signed as a right back, but we've had to deploy him in other areas. Alex MacDonald's played right back for my previous club. I think he's done an adequate job there. Macca, sometimes very good. And Sean McWilliams has probably got 40 games at right back at Northampton. So we have more than enough cover within the squad. But there's a difference having cover within your squad in a recognised out-and-out right back.
Joe Rafferty, how far away is he? Because we spoke a couple of days ago. He said he thought a little bit behind the.
He's on the grass. Could be Charlton. If not Charlton, I would be really disappointed if it's not the following Saturday. So he's running about in the grass yesterday. So, but we have to go back, Paul, to what I said 2 or 3 weeks ago. We cannot bring players back at 80 and 90% because we'll pay the price, and the experience tells you that. And I listened to Michael Doss interview very carefully this morning when he spoke about the management team with the experience they've got. We'll bring things round. We'll bring things round by showing more patience and following a process that we brought into the football club when we come in. And so we'll follow that process. So if they're 80, 90%, they're not ready to play.
Alex, can you quite believe that the team is still goalless in League One?
Yeah, no, not really. Yeah, frustrating start for us all. Not the start that we all envisaged, but we are where we are. We're creating chances, which is good, but we just need to find them final touches, and hopefully that'll come sooner rather than later.
The statistics on the chances that you are creating compared to pretty much every other team in the Football League is quite crazy, given that you've not got a goal. Is that the encouraging thing, that at least the chances are there, and that maybe if you can get one this weekend, a few will follow?
Yeah, hopefully so. Listen, it's a cliche in football that, you know, if you weren't creating them chances, I think that's when we'd be a lot more worried. But the chances are there. We're certainly doing enough in games to create good chances, and you know, whether the first one goes in off someone's backside, whether it's a goal that shouldn't be given, whatever it is, we're just hoping for that first goal, and I think that just lifts the pressure off everyone, not just the strikers, the whole team, and I think the whole mood around the place will change after that first one goes in, and what an opportunity we've got this weekend. You
know the manager quite well. What's he been like sort of this week as he tries to deal with the fact that the wins haven't come even though the chances are there so far?
I think he's been the same old manager that I've known for 8-9 years. He's not really done anything different. I think his differences probably would be if we weren't creating them chances and things like that. But you know, he's been his usual self on the training pitch, demanding his standards as always. And you know, as a group, we've followed suit. And you know, if we're sat here after Saturday after another game where we've created loads of chances and not scoring, we still have to try and keep taking the positives, and fingers crossed one drops for us at some point soon.
What's your first impressions of the division this year? Because there's a report today that Birmingham City are trying to sign a player for £9 or £10 million. That's never happened in League One before. How competitive is it in this division?
It is competitive. It's as strong as I've seen it. I think the figures and the money that's branded around now, it's half a mini championship. It's a real tough league. One with so many teams that are, you know, paying these salaries and paying these fees for top quality players, but it's fine doing that. You know, if we only have to concentrate on ourselves, and we feel as though we've got a squad that can compete, and we now need to start showing that more regularly, and by doing that, taking our chances and moving up the table.
You're one of a number of additions this summer. Has there been a period of adjustment, because there have been so many new players? It's almost a completely new team that's been crafted this season.
I think so. I think whenever you have a turnover in players like this football club has over the last couple of months, I think it was important to get as many of them new players in the door before the start of pre-season. We did that. We had a lot of time together. We went up to St Andrews. We've had a lot of time here on the training pitch. I think the bedding in process in terms of getting to know everyone is there, and it's been there. I think, you know, sort of creating them relationships, that's going to come the more and more games that we play together. Pre-season is pre-season. You're in and out for 45 minutes here and there, and everyone has to get the game time. But now that the real games are here, the proper stuff's here, we are starting to strike up them relationships. And you know, as long as, you know, the team continue to work on that in training and, more importantly, in the games, we'll be fine.
You seem to have settled in quite well. This is a club that suits you, do you think?
I'd hope so, yeah. I'd like to think so. I think it helps working with a manager for a number of years, knowing what he wants, knowing how he likes to play, and obviously the rest of his staff as well. So, yeah, it's been an easy process for me to settle in, and I'd like to think I'd help a couple of the new lads as well.
And how much are you looking forward to tomorrow? Yorkshire derby, early kick-off. Looking forward to that?
Yeah, it's one that I think we've all been looking forward to be honest. We're going into the game full of frustration of how we've started the season, but what a game to go and put it right in front of our own fans. I'm sure the stadium will be packed against a great opposition from what we've seen under a very, very good manager who I know well. So it's going to be a good test, really hard test, but what a game to go and get our first win.
Cool. Cheers, pal.
Just one quick one for me, mate. I know you've got to go training. I just noticed you seem to like an energy drink. You usually got a can in your hand before a game.
Yeah, it's well, me and Toddy have got a little ritual at the minute that he'll try and bring me a Red Bull beforehand. That's just an old superstition I've had for years and years, that whenever I play a game, just try and get that little bit of energy in beforehand. And when the years are knocking on, if you can get a little helping hand, take it whenever you can, mate. Yeah.
Get a couple down here tomorrow, mate.